Welcome to Traveler's Tales. I am your host, Greg Alonzo. Today I will be your guide through history as we take a look at your questions and comments from shamanism and its influence on ancient cultures. Before we begin, just a reminder that we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. For your convenience, we have also posted our email address and Instagram information. Moving right along, mythology tells us one thing, while history teaches us another. Our first question is from Don. He asks, in this day and age, how can people see any relevance in such archaic beliefs as shamanism? Don, interesting question. In my opinion, it is about how one was raised and their surrounding environment. What may seem bizarre to us may be commonplace to them. I must admit, throughout my travels, I have seen and experienced things that are just not germane to our way of life or indicative of our culture. Yet we cannot ignore these things. Our next question is from Gunther. He goes on to ask about natural treatments and herbal type cures and if I subscribe to them. Gunther, I believe in taking advantage of what works. I have spent a considerable amount of time in Asia and learned about herbal medicines, teas, and natural treatments. I know that in the West, many people just laugh off or shun this approach to balance and good health. Well, to each his own. I just don't believe that there is a pill for every ailment. Next, we have a comment from Ron. He goes on to say that he is an anthropologist who has spent a lot of time traveling throughout the Indonesian archipelago, and he has seen many strange things that just can't be explained. Some cures have worked while others are just ridiculous. Nevertheless, he has seen people make miraculous recoveries who were believed to be under the influence of malevolent spirits. Ron, you will get no argument from me. I try to take a look at things from a logical perspective, yet I have seen situations that simply defy logic and I have no explanation. Our next question is from Angela. She asks, how and why did people initially begin believing in what we consider to be nonsense? Angela, I would say that they did not understand the forces of nature. People looked for answers and they sought clarification through people like shamans, who were most likely the only game in town, if you know what I mean. Next, we have a comment from Joel. Joel goes on to say that it is not so strange that tribal cultures turn to the shaman for answers. We turn to priests for explanations. In our so-called mainstream religions, there are stories of dream interpretation, miracles, and a host of other things that are next to impossible to explain as otherworldly. Joel, excellent point. We look for answers and we often foolishly accept the first answer that sounds feasible. This is why education is vital in today's world. Science may not have all the answers, yet we continue in our search for understanding. Let's press on. Our next question is from Fiona. She asks, why do people readily accept such bizarre explanations to things that they don't understand or fear? Fiona, the list is endless as to why people will believe almost anything. I come from the simple school of thought, let reason be your guide, not emotion. Now we have a question from Luca. He goes on to say that many shamans do have a unique knowledge of herbal treatments and natural cures that our modern societies much too often overlook. Luca, sadly you are correct. I believe that the knowledge of these cures is most likely what initially brought shamanism into prominence. Let's press on. Next we have a question from Thelma. She asks, with regard to a shaman's knowledge of herbs and natural cures, why is that different from those today that we practice in holistic medicine? Thelma, you bring up a valid point. I believe that there is a lot to be learned about their practices and their effectiveness. A good place to start is with our own indigenous people. We are winding down to a close for this session of Traveler's Tales. We do have time for a couple more questions. This one is from Troy. He asks about rituals, spells, incantations, and how they influence people. Troy, you bring up a most interesting question. Take a look at our own religious practice. There is quite a bit of ritual being practiced. I would say that the safe answer is not a question of whether these practices work or are correct. They do offer faith and peace of mind. Our last question comes from Maggie. She asks if I think we should allow these types of practices to go on. Maggie, yes I do. With regard to these tribal religious practices, who are we to decide what is appropriate? Frankly, if it works and helps people, that is my primary concern. After all, there is no monopoly on knowledge because knowledge belongs to all. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Traveler's Tales. Just as a reminder, we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. For your convenience, we have also posted our email address and Instagram information. We love hearing from our subscribers, so don't hesitate to send us your questions and comments. If you haven't already done so, please don't forget to like and subscribe to Traveler's Tales. This really is the best way to help our channel grow. Traveler's Tales will return with The Oracle at Delphi. Until we meet again at the crossroads of folklore and history, Cartisto.